All right, welcome back. We're gonna get this controller bound up to this thing properly. So I want to center everything on my controller, steering rate all the way up. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna hold down set and power. Once it starts beeping, neutral, set, full trigger, set, full brake, set. Because this was bound up to the Max 6, we just want to calibrate this controller. Now we'll get our steering trim set up. So this is basically the way the Big Rock should come once you get it now. Once the firmware is all updated. So I just want to make sure that the glitch is gone, that everything's good with this RC, and I don't see why it wouldn't be. And this time I turned stabilization on because I noticed it was, even with horizon set, it was real bouncy on the onboard footage. So I'm hoping it's better this time, and we'll go from there. So far, it's rolling nice and smooth. Those are full trigger pulls, so I'm going to try 3/4. No dive down. And it actually feels like it rolls better now. Before, even after the glitch of the brake, it wouldn't roll as smooth after the brakes would apply. So I have been reading the comments. I have posted what you guys feel about this update and the way Arrma's taking accountability for it. And I've said it before, you guys with Arrma, this is the way I always looked at Arrma, is that when I first got into buying Arrma vehicles, it was an affordable RC that was super durable, but their quality control wasn't nearly as good as other manufacturers out there, like Losi, like Traxxas, like Habao. I felt that Arrma, you got a really durable basher for a really good price. So for me, being mechanically inclined, I was like, it's no big deal to fix the little issues that Arrma had out of the box as a ready to run. But like all things, a company should grow, especially if their prices are growing. Once Horizon took over Arrma, we slowly started seeing the price increase, but the quality control was still the same. And I was having an issue with that, because why am I paying a premium price for an RC that's an awesome platform, but you got a wrench on it out of the box before you even run it? And that was concerning. So for the last 2 years, you know, I've been calling out everybody that's saying, oh, best RC ready to run you can buy, you know, super durable, better than, you know, Traxxas and all these other companies. It's just a way better product. But you take it out of the box and every diff is leaking, or every shock is leaking. And no matter where you store the RC, you have to make sure nothing's below it on your shelf. Why? Oh, this steering is done again. Why do you have to make sure? Because it's gonna leak on the RC car right below it. I'm the type that I clean my RCs before they go on the shelf. I don't put them on the shelf dirty. I don't put them away dirty. I try to keep them clean. That's full steering. That's full steering. I think I have a steering servo failure on this RC. After a few minutes of running it, it just loses all steering. But, so I've been calling it out. I'm tired of seeing these videos where people are unboxing them and not having the same issues as me. The issues I were having, a lot of them were, you know, quality control issues. Things that should be caught before I have the RC. Like leaking diffs, leaking shocks, Loctite not put on certain screws. I've had all kinds, you know, EXB roller, put it together, diffs were bad. You know, diffs would strip out, they were shimmed wrong. So then shimming became on the customer. And when I opened my 8S Outcast, I think is when I really realized the problem, because I didn't buy that RC when it first came out. I watched a bunch of reviews. Chef Beardsley, I think RC Guy Garage did a video on it. Like, I watched a bunch of different YouTubers talk about how that RC was awesome. And I love the 6S Outcast platform. So I was like, man, you know, I gotta get me an 8S. So I waited. I waited till all the reviews came in. And I went out, ordered one, went and picked it up, brought it home, so excited, opened it up, and every orifice on that thing was leaking. Every shock was leaking. Turns out when they installed the shocks, the rubber nipple that's on the inside that's supposed to seal the cap, that thing was pushed into the tube, and most of them were damaged. And the diffs, front and rear diffs, were leaking. And I was like, man, screw this. I'm not doing this. I'm not fixing another $950 RC car that I just spent damn near $1,000 on. I am not going to fix every shock, every diff on this thing. I'm taking it back. I threw it back in the box, went up to my hobby store, and I said, I want my money back. And they said, okay, you know, calm down. We'll, you know, we'll give you your money back and we'll fix it and we'll sell it to somebody else. I'm like, well, now somebody else is getting a brand new RC car that has been wrenched on. To me, that's not new. That's an RC car that had an issue and is like a dent special, you know, but you're going to sell this thing as new. That's not cool. Look, just get me the parts, warranted, and I'll do it. So my hobby store sold me the parts, sent everything back to Arrma, and said that they will get that covered for me. Do you think I ever got paid on it? Never did. Never got any of the shock caps, boots, anything, fluids, nothing was ever covered on that RC car. I took another loss and ended up having to pay more for a ready to run. And that's where my issue started. So because I was watching YouTubers I thought were giving honest reviews, and I think a lot of them really did try, but you know, unless the masses are doing it and showing you the issues, you could have a good RC, but then you'll have 8 that are bad. You could have one that has this glitch, but this might not have the glitch. This might have Loctite. Well, this one won't have Loctite. Then I hear, mine's good, mine's bad. It's like all this different stuff, you know, when it comes to Arrma, but you just don't see that with any other manufacturer. And that was my issue. So I really started looking at it, and I like Arrma vehicles. I truly do. But I've learned that we became the warranty. You know, whether you buy it new or not. And it's the same when it came to the Mojave, when my body got stuck. You know, I got a message from Arrma saying, oh, it's an easy fix. 10 millimeter, you know, drill bit, just drill it out and you'll be good. Well, who's gonna buy that drill bit? And then everybody in the comment section defending, saying, well, you should have drill bits. It's not their responsibility. No, their responsibility is before something is sold, the R&D should be done. And yes, you will have the random defects. You won't have every one of them having an issue. I feel it's the same on this Big Rock. It's literally the same thing on this Big Rock. Is that now there's an ESC glitch and a lot of people are upset, and I don't blame them. I'm the last person to blame them. The good thing is, with this one, it is a firmware, but they want you to buy a program card. You know, if you don't want to buy a program card, then I really strongly suggest that Arrma reach out and they should notify every Horizon Hobby authorized dealer, a service center. They need to give them a program card, make sure that they have all the tools, all the programs necessary to fix this problem, so that anybody can walk into a hobby store and say, I don't have the stuff to fix my RC car. It needs a firmware upgrade. Can you please get it done? And it should get done. No questions asked. Now, what happens with the hobby stores? Should they get reimbursed? That's up to being an authorized dealer for them. You know, if they became an authorized dealer and they want to charge per one they do to Arrma, then that's a deal they need to work out. What do I feel? I feel they should be compensated for their time. Just like I felt I should have been compensated for my time on everything I did on this. You know, I watched a video, Razor RC, I think it's a pretty cool channel, his final review on this thing, and he said, you know, if you want to see the glitch, Earl Moorhead has got over 1 million videos on this glitch. Yeah, I do, because, you know, 8 videos it took me just to determine what part was bad in this thing. I was showing, and normally I don't show when I diagnose something. I don't do video after video after video. I just spend my own time. I don't film it. And then I'll show you guys the final results. But this time I was like, look, let me show you how to diagnose a problem that you don't know about. So I did a bunch of videos showing people on how to diagnose when you have a glitch that you're unsure what part is bad. And somebody made a very good comment, you know, my local hobby shop. Well, some of these people that buy these RC cars, they don't know what an ESC is. They don't know what a receiver is. You know, they don't know the names. They don't know what a BEC does. They don't know what a drag brake is. They just don't know these terms because they're not vested that far into the hobby. They are either just getting into it, or to them it's a toy. Why learn about all this stuff? This is a stress relief for a lot of people, just to come out, put a battery pack in it and go rip. If we wanted to wrench all the time on electric cars, go buy a nitro. Go buy a ready-to-run nitro, and you'll be wrenching constantly. And I think that's why, you know, the brushless took off. You get a faster RC than nitro. You get less maintenance, less wear and tear. You can take the batteries out, put it on the shelf without having to, you know, put any kind of additive into it, so that the next time you run it, it's not all gummed up and messed up. I mean, there's a lot of stuff to learn with nitro. And I think a lot of people stay away from it because of the wrenching aspect of it. And that's where these ready to run brushless RCs and brushed RCs came into play. Brushless, you can get nitro speed, longevity of running, and not have to be any kind of technician. You don't have to be mechanically inclined. So take it as you will. You know, it's a bad situation, and Arrma put themselves in this situation. I keep saying it. It's been 2 years. At this point, you know, a company can't grow unless they get their quality control sorted out and they get the masses buying their products. The only issue with this, who is this hurting? Is this hurting the consumer more, or is this hurting Arrma more? And I feel that all these glitches and all these problems that I keep showing, this is really affecting Arrma's bottom line. You, the people, you, the customers, you, the subscribers watching this and leaving your comments in there, letting them know that, hey, I'm not putting up with it this time. Thanks for the 20% off on the program card, but it should be free. The minimum, it should be free. Or, you know, you got to think of another way. One guy's like, you know, Horizon Hobby asked for the whole RC back before the glitch was really known. They wanted the whole RC back because they wanted to do testing. They wanted to make sure and see what was going on, and that RC would have been fixed and shipped back. And the guy was like, I'm not sending you my RC car. You know, well, I mean, that's on you. Me, I didn't want to send the electronics back. I wanted to play with it. So I put a different radio in it. I put a different ESC in it. I kept the roller, and I put my own electronics in it, just to see if the platform really works. And it's such a blast. No more glitch. Whatever it wasn't in the settings. It definitely was a firmware issue, and it's something the ESC was telling the brake to do. It was something that was overlooked, and you know, it could have been caught in testing. It should have been caught in testing, but it wasn't. So, you know, it's just one of those things we'll have to deal with. And I think that's why, you know, I mean, I'm upset about it. Don't think I'm not. I am, but it got resolved. And it got resolved pretty quickly because I got everything back in a week. And Arrma was grateful that, you know, we did all the research and we knew pretty much where it was. I don't know if Arrma was, but at least Dustin was. And, you know, that's it. That's it for this topic. So you have a choice. And the reason I make these videos is a glitch like this will be solved. Just like the Kraton 8S when it was first released. It was bending chassis. It had a terrible radio with it. And all that got solved in a month. And then those customers got to buy, for the same price, an all upgraded RC for the same price that the original buyers had to go out and spend $25 to get the braces, still not get the radio, and had to bind it to a DX5C. So if you wait, and you wait a few months after a release of a product, you are going to get a good product from Arrma. Fire Team, same thing. I don't think the Fire Team ever fixed the bearing issue, but motor mount screws started getting Loctite. All the quality control things that I complained about on my first run, they got solved. The bearings are too small in that thing. I would imagine by now they're running a better quality bearing, but from my understanding, the Fire Team is discontinued. I could be wrong, but Raw Dogs Hobbies told me that the Fire Team is discontinued because when I needed an ESC for this Big Rock, they didn't have one. I was going to buy a Fire Team and just steal the one out of that. That way I had a factory ESC, but they were charging too much money for it. because those things were $3.99 at one point. And they wanted to sell the ones they bought, I think for $580, I think is what the guy told me. 600 bucks plus tax. And I was like, nah, I'll just buy a Max 6. Because I have more use for a Max 6 than I did for a fire team. And I hear this a lot, is that, oh, the Big Rock is like a fire team. I'm telling you right now, it handles and drives different than a fire team. The chassis might be the same length chassis, but overall, whatever Arrma's done with it, whether it's the power they added to it, the diff fluids, I don't know what they changed, but this thing handles and drives, in my opinion, way better than a fire team. This is my style RC, and I have no problem with the fire team. I actually was enjoying the fire team on my first run until the bearing and motor fell out of it. I was having a blast with it. And then left front bearing came out and motor screws fell out. No Loctite. Quality control yet again. And who is that hurting? That hurt Arrma. Arrma had to drop those fire teams to $3.99 because they just were not selling. So all these problems with this stuff, you know, Arrma is aware of it. And I'm sure at one point, I'm hoping, I am very hopeful that one day I will get one that doesn't have an issue out of the box. People were saying, you know, my sledge. I didn't say anything bad about the sledge. Well, my sledge is all stock. Hasn't had any issues. I want to say an axle fell out when I was jumping it at the skate park, but apparently in the manual there were supposed to be some O-rings installed and they didn't get installed. So I added some fuel tubing and continued on. I didn't even call and get the O-rings. I just put a piece of fuel tubing in there and I continued on. And that was, I think, the second battery pack in that car. On a hard landing is when that thing would kick a rear axle. So yes, I'm just going to show you what the RC does. That's what I enjoy to do. I want the reel to come out, and I want honest reviews of the problems. I don't want somebody to have a problem, turn off the camera, fix it, and continue running it before anybody else has got their hands on the RC car. Low voltage cut. So it didn't act up at all, and I tried every trigger position. Looks like my front springs are collapsing too. But it's just a part of Arrma now. You're gonna pay a premium. It's a, you know, it's a good product, but you're gonna have quality control issues. I've learned to accept it, and it doesn't bother me that bad, because when I really want something, I'll fix it myself. I'm capable of fixing it. I'm just showing you guys what it's gonna take to do this. Bringing awareness is key to anything getting resolved, and I think Arrma jumped on top of it. I think, you know, with Christmas so close, oh, I forgot it was low voltage cut. I should have drove it straight back. What is that noise? What is that noise? I've never heard that on low voltage cut. The motor is sitting there clicking on low voltage cut. That's funny. I've never seen that before. These are brand new packs, so it's not like I have bad cells or anything. And I know it's at low voltage. That was weird. That's also in the firmware. That's the first time I've seen that. So whatever this ESC is definitely different than most ESCs I've ever seen, even though it's a hobby wing. I've never heard it sitting there like it was in some sort of program mode, trying to beep and clicking the motor. That's unusual. But the glitch as far as hitting the brake, it's 100% gone. This is the way. If you wait, you can buy yourself a Big Rock ready to run, and I believe it will come ready to run. But there we go. Final thoughts on this thing. Great RC. Had a firmware issue. You wait long enough, they will come all fixed. And for those that are asking me if the Creighton that has this same ESC has this issue, I can't tell you guys. I don't have the Creighton. I can only give you opinions on what I have. I'm sure all that software, I imagine whatever program was in this is going to be in all of them for their 6S line, but I can't tell you. I don't own it. But there we go. Like, comment, subscribe. We'll catch you on the next video. Get out there, do some ripping, enjoy the hobby. For all those with the Big Rock glitch, it's going to be a struggle, but once you get it fixed, you're going to have yourself a great RC. Thank you guys. We'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching.